All right, we're live on Facebook right now. So I see some people have already logged in. It says we have a couple viewers already.
Sorry, I had to go pee.
And in a second here, I'll probably have to lock my plug in my laptop here because I just noticed it's going low. So when you start talking, I'll probably go and plug it in there. But we're letting some viewers come on here. But welcome to the very first NoBS Photo Buzz.
Yo.
And, we got, of course, Mr. NoBS Photo Success himself, Mr. Robert Portraiture, here with us. And we're actually, it's an idea that I had that I brought to Rob. And I thought, hey, you got this new forum. You're changing things up a little bit, trying to go back old school a little bit. And why not get on here, explain to people why we did this, why you're doing this. And maybe this can turn into a weekly or a bi-weekly thing where we can bring people in and have different strategy sessions and things like that. So why don't I let you start, Rob, and let you talk a little bit about why you wanted to start this and things like that. And before you start, actually, maybe tell everybody that if you go in the comment section there and type comments, feel free to do so or ask any questions if you want, or just type in there, say hello, let us know who's out there and who's watching, and we can confab with you. And this is interactive. You can ask us questions. So, Rob, tell us why you wanted to start this new Facebook group.
All right, I will. I'm just curious first before we get into that, John, I want to know, can I see, I can't see the people who are in the room yet. Do I have access?
You can't see it. I know Nancy's in there. It says Nancy's watching. I'm watching it on Facebook on my phone here at the same time, so I can kind of see it. And everything's about 10 to 15 seconds after we talk. So.
All right, cool. So, yeah, we're just getting used to this new software. I'm real excited. I'm real excited for several reasons. One, I'm real excited because I brought the everybody over to the Facebook group, which I'll explain a little bit. And I am excited because John decided to do all this stuff here. And he came to me. John came to me with this program. He did a lot of research, and we did a test a few days ago. And I was like, this is awesome. Let's do it. Let's run with it. So, John, can you hear anything I'm saying yet?
Yeah, I can hear everything. I was just plugging my laptop in because it was going low.
All right, cool. I wasn't sure if you were, I'd have to repeat everything or not. But yeah, no, I decided, okay, here's the situation. Those of you who know my backstory or have been around for many, many years know that James Hodgins and myself started NoBS Photo Success in 2003. Back when PHP forums were brand new, digital photography was brand new. My studio was crushing it. James working in a lab, and he quit his job, or he got bought out. Actually, they gave him a buyout, and he needed a job. And just then, we needed somebody to come and work for us because we went full-blown 100% digital. And we teamed up and did NoBS Photo Success, and we had a really good run. And it's sort of like, whoa, came down. And PHP forums are hardly a thing anymore, but I kept it going. I got lots of really good content in there, but the activity was very minimal. And I always knew social media was probably going to be the better next evolution. And I sort of procrastinated and waited and just kept running my studio. And it's been a pretty good run ever since. And, with hopefully many, many more years to go, I'm very excited about the direction of our photography business and the direction of the photography industry. Those who I know personally, like you, John, and people like Maggie and Warren and Maria and Nancy and all, Randy down in Tennessee, who I was texting with last night, and a whole bunch more. They seem to be doing really, really well. So, when people tell me that the photography industry is dead because of cell phones or whatever, it's like, no, it's not. It's going gangbusters. So, but anyways, I knew that social media was going to be a great media with which to connect with members and prospective members and just people in the industry because cell phones. And John, it was talking to you in the last year. I know you live on Facebook. You really seem to get on the computer much. Or tablet, but the forum, was really not suited for a cell phone. So that was like, okay, how do I get beyond that? And obviously Facebook was the way to go. So I decided that one of my New Year's resolutions was to do this, and I did. And I was really glad with the amount of participation and people who signed up. So I've got a lot of exciting ideas, and including this one, John, which I thank you so much for pulling this together. I mean, I love your energy, man. You're just so passionate and so eager to just hit the ground running with just about any idea. And so another thing that happened too in all of this was I was talking to Nancy from Thunder Bay, who is a retired police officer. She's probably working harder than most photographers I know. She's absolutely insane. And she's, I mean that in a lovingly good way. She's gotten into pop-up weddings too. I inspired her to do that, and that's something we can talk about. But she was telling me, she said, Rob, you got to go back to the old brand of NoBS Photo Success, because I changed it over to Photo Success, and she absolutely was right about that one. So I'm rebranding the NoBS Photo Success. I'm going to spin off the original logo. We're going to remodify it. My daughter, who's a full-time graphic designer now, has been working on it. So that's coming on board. This is going to be, I hope to do this once a week, John, maybe once every 2 weeks if we're super busy. I don't know.
I think it'd be great.
Yeah, you seem to be on for it, and as well as a whole bunch of other ideas. You know, I was up last night, and as you get stuff like this going, I find this happens whenever you do any kind of a marketing move or any kind of a project. Other ideas just sort of evolve, and you just sort of pick up on little hints and allegations. You get, oh, why don't we do, so I'm getting crap loads of ideas. One of the things I do is when I get a really good idea, I go email it to myself so I have a text. So, or I'll write it down in a book, or I just got to record it. Otherwise I'll forget it. So, so I'm excited, and much appreciation to you. And this was my goal, to get it fired up. I don't know. Do you have anything you want to say about all of that first, and maybe we can talk about? I just
remember, like, I started NoBS Photo Success probably about 12, 13 years ago. I think it was around 2007, 2008 when I guess I was just Googling things online, and I came across you guys, and I saw, or it was on YouTube or something. I saw some crazy videos of some wacko guys doing these weird videos all the time. And it just happened to be you and James, of course. And so I thought, I'm going to try this out. So I went for a month, and it just kept going and going and going. I mean, of course, my wife was wondering why I was getting all these monthly bills all the time. But but no, to me, it was a big punch to my studio, because I was restarting again, because I actually grew up in the Toronto area, the greater Toronto area, in Brampton and Toronto, and moved to Edmonton for 3 years. Kind of got out of the shooting for a while around 2003, and was working at a camera store in Edmonton. Which, funny enough, another NoBSer, Warren, that's how I met Warren. Was I actually sold him and his ex-wife their first camera, actually. So I met him at my camera store. They came to Edmonton from where they were and bought their camera. And so I was working as a camera and not doing much photo shoots. I was doing a little bit there. I moved here to Petawawa, Ontario, which is 5 hours north of Toronto, northeast, I guess. And we're about an hour and a half from Ottawa, west of Ottawa, and where my wife's from here. And I decided I was going to start back up the business again. And if it wasn't for NoBS, I don't know how I would have started back up, because that's about the time when I got into NoBS. So cool. I thought, let's bring the old school back a little bit. I miss all those live webinar, not the webinars as much, but you and James even going on and doing your videotaping behind the scenes of you guys doing your shoots. And I think at the time, you guys just had those little Canon G1s or G2s or whatever they were.
Pre-G, A72.
So, I mean, it was always something that I interested in, and I miss the old forum. That's why I'm glad you brought the Facebook forum. Oh, cool. It's almost like the old forum, but in a different format. It's easier to get to. And I miss that old forum that we used to all go on and just the chat box on the side of that forum, if you remember, everybody was always typing, and anybody had a question. It was a way to go and get questions where answered, where there was no judgment, nobody's saying, oh, I can't tell him that, he'll steal my secrets, and things like that, like the old days, like the old masters used to do. They never So that's why I was glad. So when you brought it up, I'm like, hey, Rob, I've got this new thing. I'm starting to do my Butler's Babble on my page. I found this new streaming software. Let's try it. And if it works, we can bring this to the forum, and we can, hopefully you guys can try and educate everybody through this.
Awesome.
So that's why I wanted to do it. So
yeah. And the changes and the way the industry changed and evolved over the last 2 decades were pretty drastic. I call it the big ebb, the big flow, and then the ebb. It's been ebbing out. But that's just because a lot of people got into the business and then a lot of people left. I guess they were sort of disillusioned and or decided to get a real job. So, but if you apply good marketing and if you have a good product and you're persistent at it, you can earn a pretty decent living in this industry. And John, I think what I heard you sort of saying to me, really, if I were to underscore it with one common thread or one common theme, and that would be it's all about connecting, having that tribe, right? And that's one thing that I feel we definitely had. I mean, we had our first ever live 3-day event in 2006, and man, the energy was just so high, and we kept that going for about 9 years. We actually started doing them twice a year. Toronto or Niagara Falls or Chicago and Nashville.
Yep.
And the attendance started to wane, and that was part of that ebbing that I was talking about.
Which was unfortunate. I went to 2 of them in Toronto, and I loved them.
Yeah, but everybody was noticing the same thing. I mean, Sandy Putsch she was doing her road shows, and we don't see her doing much of that. I mean, you don't see you won't definitely see any live events right now with the whole COVID thing, but that's not the point. The point is things change, industries change, they come and go, they ebb and flow. But the most important and most valuable experience, I think, and this is what you're alluding to, is the connection and the friendships you make and the inspiration, the knowledge.
Definitely.
Hey, Dan Morency's with us. Hey, Dan, the stalker.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw it. I posted his comment there a second ago saying the NoBS stalker's back.
Yeah, Dan, I've been talking to Dan over the last 7 or 8 months on an ongoing basis, just kind of staying connected with him. He's up in Cornwall. He's been a long time. We teased him a lot. He was one of the first members. And anytime we had an event, and James and I used to have them all the time, we'd have them everywhere. We'd speak at branch meetings. We'd go to the States. We'd go to Buffalo. We spoke at the Michigan State and then the Tri-State, blah, 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 in Ohio. But anyways, virtually all of them, especially the ones in Canada, Dan was always there. And we're like, you're like a stalker, Dan. That's where he got the name Stalker. So
that's perfect. But it's just like, it's funny because you were talking about live events and that, like, even it wasn't even just you guys doing your live events. Like, look at even, like, if I'm not mistaken, is it WPPI that used to always be in Las Vegas and stuff like that?
Yeah, I believe it still
I know
is.
A lot of companies were actually backing out of doing booths there, and that because the attendance was getting so low. And there was another one in New York, I think, that was the same way, that people just weren't going anymore. And it's too bad because I learned more going to, say, your Infernos, because you can sit at home, watch TV, watch YouTube, watch different webinars, things like that. But if you're at home doing it, you got the kids coming and bugging you. You got your wife calling, hey, can you come bring the garbage in? Like, there's not that focus there, that if you're at an actual event and you're sitting in there and you're watching it, your phone's turned off, you got no distractions, you're just sitting there watching a person on stage or watching them demonstrate something, and your focus is right on there. I find we've got away from that. And it's unfortunate. I'm the same way, because I sit at home, I'll put on like some Joel Grimes tutorials, or I'll put on what's Sue Bryce, things like that. And you sit, okay, I'm gonna sit down and watch. Unless I come here to the studio and turn everything off and lock the doors and watch it, it's not the same as being there. No,
there's nothing like it, is there?
No. And so unfortunately, like you said, events are closed down right now. There's not even ones you can go to. And I mean, this is the next best thing. So I thought, with something like this, we can do some of the same stuff you did on some of your webinars, but you can do it live here. You can get actual feedback from people as you're doing it. And it also allows us right now we can bring maybe other people in. We can bring up to 10 people into this conversation. It was almost like Zoom type of thing. I mean, you have everybody talking at once. I'd have to mute everybody, but
we'll see where it goes.
If you want, we can have somebody like Dan come on if you want one day. And 1 week we can just let's talk about Dan and his photography and what's happened to his business and what he's doing in that. And maybe it's a marketing thing. Maybe it's what he's doing different for branding wise or something. And we can have 3 of us on here and just have a chat. We can have anything you want to talk about, really. It's almost like doing your webinars, but doing it live.
Mm-hmm.
And then we can archive it on your actual NoBSPhotoSuccess.com page.
That'd be cool. Well, I still, and I still do my more specialized, focused teaching and monthly mastermind meetings, but those are for the members.
Yeah.
I think this has got a different flavor. I just want people to know, if you're a member, a paid member of the forum, there's still always going to be that, as well as all the advanced training series with all those other awesome photographers. And this, I think, is going to be a nice complement. And this is going to be a much easier way to connect with people, and a great learning tool too. So I don't want to take away from either or start cannibalizing one over the other. But I want to talk about live events for a second, because last spring in Maggie's place, we had a one-day marketing summit. Maggie and I put it on. You were there.
Yeah.
Hark was there. And I don't know how many in total, but we didn't have enough room to.
We had about 10 people there, I think.
10 or 12 or more ish.
Yeah.
To me, that was a sellout event because we had limited space, but it was something that I wanted to try, and I wanted to see if there was enough interest there, and there was. And we were supposed to have another one this spring. We were supposed to ramp it up, and I don't know if Hark's going to listen to this. So I don't think he's. I'm
not sure. We've got like 6 or 7 viewers right now, so I don't know who they are. Nancy's on there, of course, and but if there's anybody that wants to, that doesn't show, but wants to ask a question, or let us know who's there so we know who we're talking to. I know Nancy's here. I know Dan's here.
Throw your comments in there. Say Happy New Year.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I'd like to get feedback of what everybody else would love to see.
Ideas are always welcome
on here, because you and I can sit here and talk for hours, and we'd probably bore the crap out of people sometimes if it was just us two talking all the time.
Well, I always got lots of stuff I got to say, but I do want to talk. One of the topics, I was thinking about this morning. Once this gets going, one of the topics that we could talk about is the actual comments and questions and the posts that go on in the actual NoBS Facebook group. For example, this is worthy to note. I posted an article that I had on the NoBS website, and I put it under I created this topic off to the right, and it's an action I made a couple of years ago. I was studying frequency separation, right?
Yeah.
I bought a course from that lady. She's from Hollywood. She's like a big time movie poster. I can't remember her name, but I bought the course from Masterclass, I think. And I studied it, and a bunch of others. And then I went out and I created an action, because, man, it's complicated. Frequency separation is complicated, but I love the look. So I created this action, which was sort of a cheater, and I gave it to everybody. It's in the group, and there's images in there that shows how the frequency separation works. Can I do that real quick right now?
What do you need to get from?
I'm going to share my screen. Is that doable?
I don't know. You can try it. I know I can share mine, but I've never tried if you can.
It's saying screen sharing is easiest with 2 monitors. I'm a 1 monitor guy. I don't know about
monitor guy too.
I've never understood 2 monitors, but I know a lot of my friends have 2. Some have 3. Like Kerry Allen has he has 18 monitors. He's the king of monitors, but he's a real tech geek.
Yeah, see if you can share it.
Hold on here. It's not the one I want to show. It's showing it asked me if I wanted to show. I'm working on some images in Photoshop.
No worries.
Okay. Tell me if you can see that.
I see it at the bottom. You have to now bring it in. So click on it I'll bring it in for you if you need to. Add the stream.
That's that. What would you call it? Inception.
Inception type thing going on there. Yes.
That's not the screen that I meant to show.
No, if you go, you might want to do your see, everybody, this is what happens on live is some of the bugs you have to get out. And if you want to, you might have to go to like the Chrome tab or the applications window or the entire screen.
I'm not going to worry about it.
Window, I'm not sure. I think it's the application window you'd want to go to, the middle one. When you hit sharing your screen.
Let me try it again.
And while he's doing that, if anybody wants to make a comment down there, I think at the beginning of before you logged in to see us, there's a thing with StreamYard there where you can click to allow them permission. And that way, if I put your comments out here, we know actually whose comment it is, or else it'll just come as Facebook user.
Yeah.
So
Firefox has blocked me from showing my screen now. That's new, so I'm not going to worry about it.
Right.
Dan Morency's saying once you try a second monitor, you can't live without one.
Yeah.
That was
Is
true.
it on Facebook you were trying to get it from?
No, well, it's I right-clicked and view image. I just wanted to show the image from the article where I have the Photoshop action that I linked in that Facebook group.
The red dress.
Yeah, can you give it a go?
If I can find it for you here. I'm just going to. Now I'm blind because I can't see our screen right now because I'm just going to go into Facebook quickly because I think you had it on the actual group page there.
I did, yeah. Posted that, I believe, this morning.
Okay, yeah, I remember it.
I got a lot of stuff I'm going to post in there. I'm just going to keep adding stuff, probably something every day.
I think I found it there. So
I'd love to start. John, have you ever judged in a print competition?
No, I haven't.
We used to do those all the time. You remember the bullpen? I'd love to do stuff like that.
That would be cool. We can have people come in and do it. All
Maybe
right,
once a month or so.
This is going to be interesting to see if it actually works here.
Ta-da!
Working?
How did you do that?
I'm secret. No, I'm just kidding. No, when I went to the Facebook page and then when I went to share my screen, there gives you 3 options, and on the right one it says Chrome tab because I'm in Chrome, not in Firefox.
That's probably.
I was able to show that through Chrome.
So this is interesting. So we're learning. I'm gonna have to test that again another day. Can you, while you have that open, John, can you click on the actual link where it says frequency separation made easy? Yeah, man.
Did it work?
Well, if it's working, it's a little delayed.
You know what it is? I gotta go to a different screen. Hold on a second. It's just like when you do Zoom. When you're sharing screen, then you gotta go and share a different screen.
I never noticed that with Zoom. I used to think that at first, but I'm pretty sure Zoom will just show your screen, whatever's on your screen.
Well, there we go.
All right. All right. Look at how clean that looks. Now go on that image.
Okay.
That image. I'll right click. Right click the image.
I did. Right click it?
Yeah, right click the image.
Okay.
Or no, hit click it when that plus arrow shows up. There, that's about as big as it can get. But there's the action. That's what it does. It creates that nice, soft frequency separation look. It's multi-stepped, and it's really kind of cool. I use it all the time as my regular softening Photoshop action. And yeah, so it's in the forum. It's not in the forum. It's in the Facebook group. Go grab it. Give it a go. There's a quick video on how to use it and how I use it too, if you guys want to.
Oh, that's awesome. I've been using frequency separation every now and then too. I think I do it a little differently than you probably.
You run that filter, right? That plugin?
Yeah, I have like a plugin, and it gives me the 2 layers that I can do. One for the color and one for the texture, I guess it is. And so one you can get rid of blemishes and it doesn't affect the texture at all. And then when that doesn't work, you go into the other one so you can move it off, but it might change the coloring a little bit or fix the coloring.
What's it called?
It's just called frequency separation. I have a 2 or 3. One was by a guy named, I forget his first name. I think his last name is Rojaj. He's a New York photographer, and he was doing a thing about it. And
so same idea as that.
Same idea, and he was doing a webinar about it, I guess, or a YouTube thing about it. And in the comments, or you can actually download his actual preset or whatever. And so I just use it that way. But I also learned how to do it a little bit. I'd have to do it again. No, I haven't done it in a while. So not the actual using of the program, but how to, if you want to do it from start to finish without a preset, how to make your two things and all that stuff. But I like it. It does work really well. But sometimes I find my wife does a lot of editing for me right now because she finds I go too far sometimes. And,
rein it
in.
in.
Something that I do, and then all of a sudden she'll be like, let me try that. And then she'll go do it and makes it look even better. I make them look fake sometimes, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, it's good to have that second set of eyes. And I have the same problem, and I try and stop. When we first went digital decades ago, I realized that. I said, when you have to stop and think about it, you're probably done.
Yeah.
Just
probably true.
If you're not, stop. Go get your wife, go get your husband, your partner, get another second set of eyes on it. Some people learn that, how to really know when to stop. Some people are really good at that. I find graphic designers are good at that, or some photographers, they just know, hey, it's good. Not a skill set that I have etched in stone. And obviously you're with me on that one, John. And it's just the thing. It's not a big deal. We get through it. That action that I use it. It's fast. It's just all about speed for me. It's very, very versatile, and it's very, very nice. And I use it on absolutely everything.
Well, I think what I did was because I found a program I use. I don't know if you've seen it, called Portraiture.
That's the one I was going to ask you about.
Yeah, I use Portraiture from Imagonics or something like that. Something like that. And I love it because I usually end up just using the default, because what it does is I'll click on an image, or I can just circle around. I don't know if you can see it, but I can just circle on Photoshop around the face and make that a selection. Then just go to Portraiture. It'll just take that portion into there. Mm-hmm. If that's the portion I want. If it's a person like myself where that's the only skin you're seeing. And then usually when it goes in, it'll show on the one side your image. On the other side, it'll see what it's done to it. Nice. And it usually comes in at the default or whatever the last one was. And I usually just use the default. It really softens it quite nicely. Hit to just open or whatever it is, save, whatever. Then it brings it back into Photoshop on another layer. I have it set to come in just on another layer over top. Mm-hmm. So it brings the image back with the actual thing done. And then I just use the opacity of that layer to bring it back down, usually about 50% or 30%, depending on person. So it's not too strong. And it does the exact same thing, I find. And if you bring it back enough, you get the softening, but still keep the texture at the same time.
That's pretty handy.
I like it. One step, you just click it, it goes over, click the OK, save it, and boom, brings it back over, and then just do the slider. I don't have to worry about going over every pass. Now, of course, if there's blemishes, I'll do that first. I'll go in with the patch tool, get rid of some pimples, things like that first.
Pretty much.
It just finds it easier and faster for me. Just two or three clicks, I'm done.
I've heard of Portraiture from many, many photographers that I know, and they swear by it. But,
I think I could be wrong. It might even be the same company. Doesn't Imagonic or whatever, don't they also do Topaz Adjust, or is that a different company altogether?
Different company.
Okay.
I do use Topaz quite a bit, and I use Topaz Adjust. Topaz, the one that does the oil painting effect, it's called...
it's fairy portraits.
I have it in Topaz Impression. That was a more expensive one, but I use that one quite a bit for painting effects. It's really, really good. And that's about the only Topaz I use. But I know from my experience and studying that Topaz has a denoising and sharpening, like one of their plugins will res up an image. Yeah. And apparently in those areas, it's the best. That's what I understand.
Okay. So even Dan says he uses Portraiture too.
That's the same one that you were talking about.
Yeah.
Dan, who is the maker of that? Imajubajubajubu. Jiba jeeber jabber. So I want to talk about goals, but let me just tell you something really quirky and weird and totally irrelevant first. I was out for my morning jog this morning. I do this cold exposure Wim Hof stuff. So I jog with shorts and a t-shirt, and you should see the looks I get. But it's really easy to do, especially you got to wear gloves if it's really cold, but not a problem. I like to listen to music while I'm jogging, and I'm listening to the Muddy Waters, and I was listening this morning. I was listening to King B. And it made me think of this logo, NoBS Photo Buzz.
Yeah.
Because there's a line in King Bee. Well, I'm a king bee buzzing around your hive. I'm a king bee buzzing around your hive. I'll buzz all night long. I buzz all night long. Blah, 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 blah. It's just a really silly blues song, but really good. And that's the totally irrelevant little bit of information I wanted to throw at you there.
Yeah. No, well, hopefully we'll have a better logo as we go on. Hopefully,
No, I love this.
Like the Photo Buzz.
I love the name Photo Buzz. I mean, the actual logo will probably end up changing that because my daughter's going to upgrade it.
But yeah, the Photo Buzz was just, like I said, I threw you some names. I thought, what could we call this? And to me, that's what we are. We're just whatever the buzz of the photography industry is at the time, we'll talk about. So
we need a little B up on the top right hand of that buzz. I'll ask my daughter to make a B. Buzz, buzz.
This has all been new to me because there's a certain program, I can't remember what it was now, and they showed me how I can go in, and actually it was through StreamYard. They have this was almost based on their original layout, and then I just changed the colors. I put my own text in there, everything, and I just used theirs basically.
Right.
And, but it works. I mean, it does the job. I'll make some newer layouts as we go. I'm learning as we go, just like Photoshop and Lightroom and. It's funny because I get a lot of people ask me why I still use Lightroom and Capture One's out, and all the pros use Capture One. And to me, I mean, if it does the job, who cares? I mean, it's like a photo shoot. If you can get the job done by using a flashlight over using a big $1,200 strobe, I mean, flashlight. I mean, do what you got to do to make it work. At the end of the day, the customer, the client doesn't care how you got to the end product. They just want the end product.
Well, it's been said a million times. Light is light.
Yeah, and I find that too. Photoshop, Capture One Pro, whatever it is, Lightroom, they're all just tools to get to the final end. And
on the topic of lighting, I did purchase recently a 42 by 72 inch softbox for the Godox.
Okay.
So it's got the Bowens mount.
Yeah.
I have all alien bees in my studio. And I wanted to try this mat with the grids, the eggshell grids. I want to have a very large light source because I use an Octodome. I have a large one and a small one, depending what I'm shooting. I switch them up. But I bought this large one. I gotta say, I don't know that I really needed to buy it, but I told my wife I did. So
a lot of times, do we ever need to really buy it?
Well, I bought a $3,000 lens last month. I bought a Sony G Master 16 to 2036 2.8, but I sold the 16 to 35 f4 that I already had, and I got $800 for that. and when I buy stuff, it's really cool. I don't know if you do the same thing, John, or for anybody else. I know Dan is filthy rich, so he can buy anything you want without any thought. But I have to really think long and hard if it's a purchase like anywhere over $500, especially a $3,000 lens. So I got to come up with my thinking. I got to verify this is exactly what I'm going to use. This it's going to be a tool, and then I research it to death for 6 months, 8 months, and then I sit down and I go face to face with the boss, my wife, and I present it to her. This is good. This is good. It keeps me accountable, and when I get to that point, she never gives me a hard time because she's like, yeah, you've done your homework. It's like one of those scenarios. It's kind of weird, but it's very helpful at the same time. I don't buy a lot of stuff. I was almost going to say I don't buy anything willy-nilly. I have many, many times. We're photographers. We do that. We fall into these traps. How many backdrops have I bought that I've only used once?
Exactly.
But a lens, and I thought to myself, okay, I really love this lens. It's a zoom, and I could use the extra speed for weddings. And okay, so the big question is, am I going to keep doing weddings? And yes, absolutely. So I'm going to get a lot of use out of it, as well as any commercial gigs I get. As a side thing, it's a really good lens for doing astro, which is just a for fun thing that I'm going to do. And scenics with those long 10-second, 20-second exposures, which I've experimented with over the last 4 years. So I had to buy a new 82 mil 10 times neutral density filter to put on the front. because the other lens was 72 mil, and that's a 72 mil with a step-up ring on an 82 mil. You know what that's going to look like, right?
Yeah.
It's not going to work. So
No.
when I sold the lens, I got rid of all my neutral density filters, polarizer filters, all like high quality. I just threw it in there. I don't hang on to stuff. And I went to Amazon, and all I need is a neutral density 10 times for that lens to do scenics. Now, scenery is not a moneymaker for me. So it's just a for fun thing, as well as astro. That's just fun stuff. And it's good to kind of play along in areas that are just for fun, I believe, as a photographer. Do you do anything just for fun, John? Do you ever go out there, other than if you're building your portfolio for legitimate projects that you want to turn into actual paid gigs and down the road? Like, I know you're really trying to go after the high school seniors, and you're sort of working with Warren because he's really rocking that in Canada. But other than that, you know, James and I used to always love going on what we call crap shoots, what are little point and shoots for visiting another town, which let's go out at night. We're just going to go downtown. We're going to go walk around and just shoot. That is so much fun. So much fun to do that kind of stuff. But again, there was a lady in our city who was doing astro, and a couple of years ago, I asked her if I could join her, and I just wanted to see what it was like, and I learned a whole crap load, and it was fun, as well as those long
stuff. I haven't done it in a while. I have to. I actually have a project I want to do. I have my brother-in-law, my wife's stepbrother. There, he's got a lot of character in his face. He's in his 50s. He's got the big beard, almost like those National Geographic pictures you used to see of those people with the big beard sitting on the street, like not the homeless guys, but over in those countries where somebody just comes up with a little 50 mil lens. I take a picture of you.
You're talking about the people from Tennessee.
Yeah. So he's got the nice big beard. He's got the character. He smokes cigarettes, and I'm like, you know what? I want to get a character picture of you, and I want to actually do a face character shoot where just find different people that have different things going on and get nice, just really tight close-up face shots, black and white, very high contrast.
On the lines.
Every nook and cranny in their faces, and show that these people have lived, and they've got a story to tell just in their face alone. And I want to do something like that. It's not something that somebody would probably hire me to do, but it's something to go around town and just find people with character and just say, can I take a picture of you?
Character studies.
And maybe come out with some sort of a gallery viewing or something, maybe even here at my studio. You've seen how big my shooting area is. Maybe I can put some sort of a gallery once I get it done up in there and invite people to come and see it, or the local theater here when it can open and start doing plays and things like that again. Maybe I can get them to do a little gallery showing there. We also have a place downtown called Studio Dream Share, and the girl Cameron who opened this up, it's great. It's a big open space. She does teaches kids how to do video making and movies and scripting and that. She teaches them photography. She has people come in and do art classes for people. It's just a big space that she does collaborative artsy stuff with different groups, dance classes in there, things like that. So maybe she'd be willing to open it up to do a gallery, a free gallery for people to come and see my work, something like that. I think it would be a lot of fun. And even sometimes, like I did do one. You might have seen it. I don't know. And I don't know if I could even find it on my thing, but I did a friend of mine. She's actually an undertaker here. She's about 5'6", pretty as you would ever imagine, but you would never know she was an undertaker. But she was at the funeral home here, and I said, you know what? I want to take your photograph. I want to do a nice glamour shoot with you. I want like InStyle or Cosmo, just a fashion beauty shot, the makeup type, where the makeup artist can just have fun with you. Use your face as a canvas and go for it. And we came up with some gorgeous images, just head and shoulder shots of her. And then what I just did it on a gray backdrop, and I wanted to experiment with filters. And so I had like a speed light with a yellow gel on it. And another time I did it with a purple gel under the gray backdrop. And it came out like I had a seamless yellow or seamless purple backdrop. And her makeup was done. You would think it was done from one of those fashion magazines. And it was a lot of fun. We didn't make any money from it. I know nobody's going to call me up and say, hey, can I hire you to do something like that? They might. You never know. But it was more... I find, and I'm sure you do too, it gets sometimes where always having to do what the client wants and always doing the same. You're doing family shoots. It's always, yeah, you get your sort of character in there, but you still got to get those basic shots that the parents are going to want to put up on their wall and show their family off. You're doing weddings. Yeah, you get creative when you can, but for the basics, they want the basic shots. They want to get the story told. So you can't just do what you want to do sometimes. You got to get what the client wants. So this is times where I hire a makeup and hair person and I say, hey, let's have some fun. I'm going to bring a model in. Let's come some ideas. Let's do something like fun. We'll all do it for just like I said, our portfolio, or just for something fun to come up with that one product. That'd be amazing. And a lot of hair makeup don't charge me. I don't charge. The makeup or the model doesn't charge. And we just come in my studio and for a couple hours just have some fun and see what we can come up with. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but it's a lot of fun. And those are ones that bring that passion back, I find.
Because that's a good idea. Keeps the creativity going.
Yeah, the passion's not there because I'm doing the same thing over and over for the clients. Headshots, they want the same thing over and over, and I do a lot of headshots in here, and I love doing them. I wish I could just do headshots if I had to for a business one. But sometimes you just got to go creative and say, let's get a whole crew together. Let's do something creative and get our creative juices going and come up with an awesome product and bring that passion back again. If we can. So, one of us, I might have, it doesn't say who it is there, but that's actually Randy Sarton. He's saying that I
knew it was Randy. And that's why I said Tennessee.
Oh, that's
from Tennessee. Yeah.
Then.
Yeah,
he hasn't given them permission to say his name on there, so it just comes out as Facebook user. But
he's skulking in the shadows. I know it's him. I had a dream about Randy. It's so weird. I put that in the face. It was just the weirdest thing. Randy's, I've never dreamed about you before. It's just you showed up. I've been dreaming a lot since January 1st. I don't know why. I don't normally dream that much. First thing in the morning, though, when I get up, I have my coffee, I sit down and I journal for a bit. And if I've dreamt, I write down what it was. And one of my dreams, there was this really weird scenario. I was in a helicopter with this guy who looked like, who's that guy? He's always topless when he plays rock and roll. He's got long, skinny hair. He's probably about 70 now.
I'm thinking of Tommy Lee, the drummer, but I don't know who you're talking about.
No, he's much older than him.
Well, when you say rock and roll and no shirt on, it's usually a heavy metaler, and they're all skinny. So
he's around the same era as David Bowie.
Okay,
shit, I'm learning a song by him. Pardon?
Mick Jagger?
No, not the Rolling Stones. Oh, for crying out! The Passenger was his big hit. Anyway, Iggy Pop.
Iggy Pop.
So this guy who's in a helicopter, looks just like Iggy Pop, and we're going for a ride, and it scared the hell out of me. And there was a blue sky, and we landed in my old neighborhood where I grew up, and there's kids all over the place, and I had to do this group shot of all these kids and with a film camera, but I had no film. And then Randy showed up, and I'm like, "Hey, Randy, hell, man, do you got any film?" Yeah, you were fully clothed.
I was gonna say, anyways, clothes were on. But see, Randy, like I never met Randy in person or anything, but I remember his name from the old forum, and always I do a lot of sports in the area here. I used to do our junior team, Pembroke Lumber Kings here, all their action shots. So I always remember I used to watch a lot of his stuff he had on there, and always was envious of those nice big 600 milliliter lenses and his 400s, and they just, it's like it's at your lens. You're happy to see
sports guy. So. Well, he did an awesome post. I believe you put it in there. I know you emailed it to me, or you put it in the forum, Randy. I hope we should put that in the Facebook group too. It was kind of like where the subject matter was, hey, what have you been all up to since the pandemic? And he had a really, really long, very insightful post and comment as far as how his business, because Randy was mostly into sports. And I gotta tell you my quick Randy story. When we first met him, his username was LensCap, so we tease him about that. He quickly changed over. But back in the day, he was just getting into photography, and man, he skyrocketed and got into doing college sports and a bunch of other stuff at a very high level. And one of the Infernos in Nashville, Randy did a 2-hour presentation that night. I believe it was that night. We did one of the night owls. And I remember Randy saying to everybody who was in the room, he said, "How many people here would like to be doing what I'm doing?" And every single hand went up. But the point was that there's not a lot of money in it when you're doing sports photography. As far as I think that's what I recall. And somehow Randy, you always seem to be still making money at it, and or maybe streaming off into other areas of sports, but sports always being the de facto key area that you were into, with more variety in the last year since the COVID thing. You were talking about aerial photography, real estate photography, and a whole bunch of other stuff, which is really indicative of being adaptable and changing and going after new markets. I don't know if those markets came to you out of the blue, Randy, or if you went pursuing them. But I don't want you to answer that question now, because I'm hoping to get you in on one of these very soon.
That would be cool.
I know he emailed me that specific thread I was telling you about.
Yeah.
And I replied back and I was like, oh, this is unbelievable, amazing, so good to hear. I detect a webinar. And I seem to feel that he was open to the idea. He's done a couple with us already.
Yeah.
But Randy would be somebody really good to get on one of these talks or a Zoom call. So.
Well, I think that'd be awesome.
It's complicated. He says, you're not doing real estate? I thought you were doing real estate photography, or am I confusing you with someone else?
I don't know. Because another one that I think I find has been very inspirational for me for the last maybe year or two has been Danny Rabelais. Because, I mean, with the whole pandemic, I mean, it never slowed him down. Yeah, he's got a whole crew that he has to worry about, paychecks and things like that. And he was moving, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I saw a video one time where he moved into a new studio in the last 6 months, and a bigger studio, and
I think that was a couple of years ago.
So, but I watched how inventive he can be sometimes, him and his wife, and school portraits especially, because they do tons of school stuff and sports, but mostly the school portraits for a lot of the different schools. And they came up, I don't know if you saw it, he had a video, this little kit that they made on like a dolly. It was like those dollies you used to put projectors on and stuff. And it's got the kit where his light stands attached to the dolly with one alien bee and an umbrella. And he's got everything he needs on that dolly. And so when they come in, they have their masks on and they just wheel this dolly in. They don't have to bring all this other stuff in. Bring this one dolly in, set up their backdrop. Everything's right there on the dolly that they need. And
pretty handy.
And it made the schools convinced that, it's safe, we'll bring them in. I mean, the guy was inventive. And so every now and then he comes on, does these live feeds, and I watch him all the time because it's pretty smart. And he does it with a little comedic attitude also. Which is good.
Well, we met Danny in 2005 or 6. And he was he was in the forum back in the early days, and he joined us in Niagara Falls when not Niagara Falls, St. Catharines, and James and I were teaching there, 5-day course at Niagara School of Imaging. Danny showed up the first or second year we did that, and we got to know him very well. And Danny was working full-time as a police officer. I believe he was
like a prison guard or something?
I don't know, maybe the warden. He was supervisor, so he was up there, and then he retired 5-6 years ago.
Yeah.
Full pension, and then he hit the ground running. He was already running a full-time photography business with his wife, and then he hit the ground running once he retired. And you're right, you said he had like a team. I think he had 22 employees, and that system that you described, he's got like 5 of those, because he goes into a school, 4 systems set up, boom, 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 everybody gets shot. So he's very efficient. And he talks about that in some of the webinars I've had with him over the years. But I think he's due. I think we got to hook up with him. Randy's saying architectural, not real estate. Huge difference. All the same to me.
No. Hey, and here it's funny because there are a couple of photographers in the area that they actually do a lot of the real estate here. And I have a couple of real estate agents. I do a lot of the real estate headshots in this area. A lot of them come to me. And I don't get all of them because my pricing is a little higher than most of them in here. I mean, you do get those shoot and burner ones here where $50, $100, here's your headshot, and might start at $250. So I don't get a lot of them, but it's the same with actual real estate photography. I've only done maybe 3 real estate shoots in the last maybe 4 or 5 years, and only because there was a couple of photographers. One had a $650,000 house that he had to shoot. And I guess him and his son went in and shot it themselves, and the client was not happy. They're like, this does not look like a $600,000 house. So he said, John, would you go do this? So my wife and I went in there, and it's funny because you'll get some here that $100, $150. They'll shoot the whole house. They'll give you so many files. They'll give you video, everything for like $100, $150. But they're in and out of the house in half an hour, 45 minutes. my wife and I go in. We're in there for 2 hours, 3 hours sometimes, and I bring some strobes. I bring some off-camera little flashes, speed lights, because I'll pop it in. I do a little HDR mixed with lights bouncing and everything, and we're in and out. But I want that home style magazine type look. I don't want it to look like anybody went in there and shot it. I want it to look like it could be on the cover of a home magazine. And a lot of them pay it here because I'll charge an hourly rate. And so for me to go in and do that, you're looking anywhere between $400 to $800 sometimes to go and shoot these houses. But they don't, especially a $650,000 house. To me, to pay a photographer $500-600 to come in and do it, to sell a $650,000 house, to me is a good investment. But
you don't want that. You don't want that point and shoot level.
No
photography. It says everything about your place. Right?
Do it. I mean, the house is $300,000, $400,000. You know, when they sell the house, they're making anywhere between $5,000 and $8,000 on that house, but they don't want to spend $500 to make that $5,000 or $8,000. So it is what it is, but it's not an easy thing to get into, I find. And so I've sort of the one that they shy away from me when they come after me, and I tell my price, and all of a sudden they don't want to do it. So
we're going to get Randy on one day. He just commented real estate runs maybe $200 a job here. That's down in Knoxville. My architectural average runs between $4,000 and $8,000. Big difference. Yep. You're absolutely right. Big difference.
That's in Texas?
No, it's Tennessee.
Oh, Tennessee.
Yeah, that's where men are men.
Yeah. Well, there's even I forget his name now, but I've seen him.
Bears are scared.
A couple times. He does real estate, but he does high-end homes, like $1 million homes, and he goes in and he does light painting basically when he does it. Like if he's doing the whole backyard scene of these big, huge Malibu homes on the riverfront or on the ocean front there or whatever in California, and he goes in and he has an iPad with him. It's linked to his thing, and he's got a flash with him, and he goes click, and he sees the picture right away, and then he goes to the next one. He goes over and he paints over here, and then in Photoshop he mixes all together. And I mean, he's probably charging a couple $1,000s to go and do one house, but these are $1 million homes. So
works of art. He's creating a work of art. Selling the dream, man. Selling the dream. I'd rather photograph people. I'm a people photographer, and I know and I get and I understand. I appreciate people who like to photograph underground tunnels and cages, big pieces of equipment like James Hudgens and Randy and all that stuff. But I'm at my best when I'm with little kids and families. That's there's so many areas that you can branch off into and find your mojo.
We're alike, but we're different at the same time. Like I know you always consider yourself the Swiss Army knife of photographers because you're into basically everything. I kind of am, but I'm not, or I'm sort of slowing down from that. I'm kind of getting more specialized. I'm people photographer, but I'm trying to get more into the corporate stuff. I'm trying to do more of my contemporary, more portraits. Like I don't know if you ever checked that guy Ben Markham out of New York that I told you about.
Yeah.
Beautiful stuff. Sue Bryce. I want to get more into that kind of contemporary stuff, and I do a lot of the Mike Long pinups. Of course, I would never ever say I'm as good as Mike. Of course, the guy is just a master at what he does.
Somebody else we're going to get on one of these. What's that guy's name? Ben what?
Ben Markham. I think it's Marcum.
I'll check them out. Yeah, it's good to have people like that to aspire. You know, it's like I just did a YouTube video on that topic, and I called it "Everybody Needs Heroes." Those are people we look up to, you know, whether in the industry or outside the industry for whatever reason, but we aspire to sort of be and or mimic whatever characteristics they have, be it an actual style that we want to learn. And, you know, we never copy exactly, but we can be inspired by and modify our own unique. You know, I do fairies, but there's not many people doing fairies out there. So I kind of borrow from other photographers who are doing similar stuff to fairies, but not exactly. And I borrow bits and pieces here and there. It's everything crosses over, right? And you create your own unique brand.
Definitely. I see he's asking if I'm talking about Rich Baum. No, I just looked him up, and no, that's not him, but it's that style. Yeah, exactly. That style of like if I show my screen here, I know what he's talking about for real estate. And it's the kind of style, like I said, that I would rather go do than just just go in there and knock it out in a half an hour. I just got to find out. I think it's this one here. So like those are the style of shots that I would like to do if I'm going to do real estate.
Nice.
And a lot of stuff like that's done with light painting and things like that. Or something like this, to me, that looks like something that you're going to be able to get a lot of money for that house for, by a picture like that, as opposed to just a snapshot. But there's not a market for that in my area, I find, and that's the whole problem. So
you're in Ottawa Valley. It's all farmers and potato pickers.
Well, it's military base too. So, but what I find funny too is it's a matter of priority. I always tell people. A lot of times, photography, it's not that they can't afford it; it's not a priority to them. So,
make it one.
I'll get like somebody. He could be a master warrant officer here, making over $100,000 or $80,000 a year, whatever they make. His wife has got a really awesome job. She's bringing in $50,000, $60,000. Between the two of them, they're probably making $150,000 to $200,000 a year. They have a beautiful house off base, nice pickup truck, a boat, all that stuff. And then they come for a consultation, or they call you up and say, okay, how much to do your family shoot? And you tell them, like, oh, that's kind of that's not what I expected. It's a little bit more than what I was willing to pay, or I can't really afford to pay that for that. And I'm thinking, well, it's not that he can't afford it. Of course he can, because you look at all his toys he has. But his toys and his other stuff is more of a priority to them. Photography's not. And so I don't take offense to it. It's all personal choice. I mean, you'll get people that look like they should be on food stamps. And they'll come in, and they'll be your best customer. They'll hire you for your price, and then they're $1,000, $1,500 order afterwards. So you never know what you're going to get.
You never know.
Priority, I find.
So let's come to the conclusion. I'd like to keep these about an hour. I don't know if you're cool with that. I'd like to talk about goal setting, and I just want to give you a comment, a quote that I sent to my daughter. I send my daughter, not every day, but I try to often send her a thought of the day. Here's what I sent her on New Year's. I said, Happy New Year, thought for the day. Here's the thought for the day. Quote, there is a secret every professional artist knows that the amateurs don't. Being original is overrated. The most creative minds in the world are not especially creative. They're just better at rearrangement. That was a quote by a dude by the name of Jeff Goins, Goins. I don't know who that person is, but I thought that was a really good quote, and I wanted to just sort of put that one out there. That's why
I just and I'm hoping maybe we'll sit down. I was hoping that James was going to be around today, because I thought he would have been great to bring on today, since he helped right at the beginning of NoBS with you.
He will return. We'll get him back.
Yeah, so maybe next time we'll get him on one day, and we'll get some viewpoints on his mining and what made him change to the mining and get away from a lot of the other stuff. Because
I would like to get James on also to do a print competition. Get James and I and a third person to be a three-way judge of a print competition. You know, maybe we can get Dan Morency or Nancy or somebody who's had experience or whatnot. As well, but also get just James in just to shoot shit like what we're doing. So
exactly. No, I think this is great. And I would love to, if there's anybody that's part of the forum that thinks they have something to bring to the table, by all means, let Rob or I know, because I would love to have some of the other ones on here too, because we all are different. We all have different perspectives on things. We all do things differently. I'd love to bring Warren in on one of these, Warren and Paula, both of them, Warren and his wife Paula, because Warren's really into the seniors and the weddings and the portrait stuff. He's now getting into a lot of the fitness stuff, which is my repertoire, because I started out as a bodybuilding fitness swimsuit photographer back in the 90s, basically in film days. Film like that. But then Paula, his wife, awesome with babies right now. Like, she's rocking the newborns.
Absolutely. And I don't think Warren's going to let her take the limelight. He loves the limelight. I'm joking.
We'd have to do two separate ones.
I've done a million webinars with Warren over the years and had him speak at several infernos. And I've never seen Paula get involved. I don't know if she's just not had an opportunity, or if Warren won't let her, or if she's just
he won't let her.
She'd rather skulk in the shadows. But
I think we could convince her. I mean, she's been getting on there more and more with the tails of the tub.
Yeah, off to the side a bit.
Tub.
Yeah. So we'll figure it out. There's I have a list. You're on my list, everybody. And if you want to make sure you're on the list, send us a comment, text, send us an email. I'd love to hear your stories. I find that this is something people love doing. They love sharing, and they love talking about what's working for them. Plus, their struggles. This is like an AA meeting. Hi, my name's Rob. I'm a chronic photographer. I'm addicted to photography.
Photographers Anonymous.
My life has become unmanageable. But no, it's true. I mean, it's masterminding, and that's a very powerful. I've got so much to say on that.
Yeah.
You know, I mentioned this. I almost opened up a pizza shop in August, and I wanted to come up with a name and a brand. And I sat down for 3 hours with my wife, my daughter, and my daughter's boyfriend, and we weren't like 20 minutes and let's go in and out. I just said, let's get in hard at it. And you can do that, and you out to do that strategy no matter what it is you're trying to evolve into a legitimate product. And I got to tell you, the results were amazing. I never did open a pizza shop. I was just really mad because I couldn't open for 3 months. And the pizza shops were allowed to open, the takeouts.
I don't know what she's talking about there, if it was your quote or something else, but your daughter just said good one. I don't know if she's talking about not opening a pizza shop or if it was to do with your quote that you did.
My daughter, is she here?
Yeah, it says Danielle Provenche. Good one.
Hey, Booney!
I don't know how long she's been on, but
Danielle, I didn't know you were here. Shouldn't you be working? I'm going to shut up. She's an adult.
It's on here. If you leave comments afterwards, too, just put a hashtag replay or something so we know that you came on and saw it. Because the replay, I believe, stays in here in Facebook. I'd
love to archive all these. I'd love to get my daughter Danielle on one of these.
It gives me the option to download it, and then I'll send it to you.
I'd love to get Danielle in on. There's a reason why I call her Booney, by the way. She's 25 years old, and I told she's got her first full-time job as she graduated last spring, and she's saving up for her car. And I told her, I said, you're going to get your license plate Boonie, Booney. And she's like, yeah. But that's been her nickname since she was a baby, because when she was born, I looked at her and she looked like she was a Balinese little love child. And I just said, oh, look, a little baboony. I just made up this term, baboony, and it stuck.
Yeah.
She looked like she was not of this planet. She was very exotic looking, so hence the term Booney.
Well, she was your kid, so I mean,
no doubt about it. There's no doubt about that. Yes. So, but yeah, let's
wrap it up.
Let's talk about goals before we do wrap it up. What do you say? I just some people are not crazy about goals, and I get it. Some people are obsessive about goals, and I don't get that, because you can be obsessive about it and they can literally become a problem. You can obsess over stuff and your life can become unmanageable because of that obsession. So you got to be careful. I'm sort of in the middle. I've always believed in goals, and I kind of go through up phases, down phases in my life. But 1990, I just ramped up all my goals. 5 years later, got married, ramped them up again, because all of a sudden I had a wife and a baby on the way, and we had to get the studio going. And I tell you, 2000 and 2001, I redid them again. I do them every year, but when I say I did them again, I went at it really hard.
Yeah.
You know, I'll sit down for hours and just really focus. It's really good to do that with an accountability partner. And when Danielle was a little 5-year-old, we started doing goals with her. I wanted her to learn that strategy. And even if you do it mildly, I mean, people say, I don't do goals. Well, all right, then tell me about that car you have, or tell me about that business you run, or tell me about that job you have where you're a geologist at. Those were all at one point goals that you wanted to achieve. So yes, you do goals. You just go about it in a different way. So everybody does goals, unless you're in a lead cave or in a closet. So I believe they're important. Even if you're just thinking about it, it's better if you write them out. I've had some absolute miracles happen because of the goals that I've pursued in my life. I can't even begin to tell you the amount of stories that it's like pure magic. Things that just like, whoa. And when that happens, I know I'm doing the right goals. I mean, some goals, like you look at it a year later, you go, Like I always wanted a big ass sailboat, and I got a small sailboat one summer. And at the end of that summer, I sold the sailboat, and I realized I didn't want to be a sailor. I really wanted what sailing represented. I wanted a motorcycle. I wanted freedom, but that's what sailing represented. But yeah, but that's okay. I mean, you got to put something down, and you come to the realization of what it is. It really means And you kind of figure it out as you progress along. It's like a zigzag. You never a straight. There's no such thing as a straight line. You just zig and zag. But the worst thing is to be going backwards or take a hard left, hard right, and staying on a horizontal plane. You're always at some level climbing up this mountain, and that mountain is your life, your destiny, your reality, and all the things, both artistic, physical, spiritual, mental, community, family, all of that stuff is all part of that picture. So, it's important to put some attention to it. So,
because I've got, actually, it's funny you're talking about that, because I actually have a friend of mine. She's one of my wife's and I's best friends in this area, and she's a fitness trainer, but she's also a personal coach too. She's got her degrees in coaching and stuff like that. And so she's actually got me. I was actually supposed to go this morning, but I postponed it to tomorrow. Actually going to her house tomorrow. We're going to sit down and we're doing 2021 goals, and she's going to walk me through it and make me accountable. So it's the first time doing it. It's not a business coach. It's actually a personal coach. She said, no, you're coming over here. We're going to do it, whether you like it or not. And put on there. So
she told you.
She basically told me, yeah, it's like another wife almost.
Well, why did she tell you? You must have opened up the door. You must have said it's something you wanted to do.
No, because I'm always telling her like the different things that I want to do and the different things I'm trying to get accomplished. And I'm actually, one of them is actually to get back into better shape, of course, because I've let myself go, especially over the last year with 2020, the way
COVID
year was, and that we're all at home. And so I want to get myself physically and mentally into better shape in that. So she was going to help me with a lot of the physical part, because she is a personal trainer herself and that. Mm-hmm. But because she's a personal coach, she just out of the blue, just yesterday or the day before, she's like, well, what are you doing tomorrow? Because I told her I did this today. And she's like, well, what if we do it in the morning? And I'm going to get you to come over, because she was just doing it herself. She was sitting down, I guess, last week and putting down her goals for 2021. And so it just must have popped in my mind. Said, hey, why don't you come on over and we'll put some goals together for you for 2021 and that. So she told me to do this, no matter how long it is, make it extensive, make it as foolish as it might sound. Just put everything down, and we'll sit down and see what works.
John,
what's attainable? John,
I want to keep on tabs on this over the next months, year, see how it works out.
Definitely.
I've had multiple times in my life where I've paid for group coaching, one-on-one coaching, telephone coaching, all executive style coaching. All of it was always goals based.
Yep.
And which I was always pleasantly surprised to hear about. And it was all super, super beneficial. It's so powerful to have an accountability person there.
Yep.
And even an accountability strategy like the NoBS group, where I posted a few days ago. Remember, I said, what are your goals for the year? And people started putting their stuff in there. I mean, that's powerful just to put it down there.
Well, I even told my wife, and she's like, I said, do you want to come with us? You can just say, no. She goes, I don't know, I can put my own goals and all that. I'm like, yeah, but when you have that person outside of the situation that's going to hold you accountable for it, I think it's more powerful than even just telling my wife, her and I sitting down and doing it. And I mean, we'll slip back and forth. But if you have somebody outside in another place that's like, hey, did you do this? You want, what are you doing to build this up to get to that goal you wanted? Mm-hmm. And she'll hold me accountable. I know she will. So.
And not only that, she's trained. She knows to ask you questions. She's objective.
Yep.
And she'll catch you on possibly you digressing off the wrong track. And she'll ask you the right questions. So good luck with that. I want to know how it goes. Hey, is my daughter still here? Is Danielle still here? Danielle,
I'll go back. I don't know if you're there. Danielle, type something in.
I want you to look at that NoBS photo buzz. See the logo there? It'd be really cool to have a bumblebee with the sort of bull horns motif, small little logo off of the main logo brand, whatever that may be, which is going to be sort of the NoBS thing.
There's your old one in the top right there. I just put it on so people can see it.
But I could see having a customized logo just for these photo buzz chats, which I really thoroughly enjoyed. So I'd like to do this once a week or every 2 weeks, John.
Yep. We'll have to maybe get feedback from everybody. What's a good day and time that they would like to see these, that we can make it work for everybody so they can see them live. Because I would like to get more people coming on live so we get more feedback on the day of the show, where they're typing comments and things like that. And she said she is on here. So
good. So cool.
But yeah, I'd like to get more live feedback as we're doing it, so we can get people interactive. Make this more of an interactive thing as opposed to just you and I and whoever the guest is talking. Let them ask some questions too.
We can do that. We can do that.
Definitely, I think it's fun.
Depends how many. It depends on the topic, I find, and how many. Like, who is like, if we had Annie Leibovitz join us, we'd probably get all kinds of people signing up and asking questions. But it's just John and Rob. Buzz.
Like, they know Rob. It's like, who the hell's this John guy?
Everybody knows you now, John. You're famous. You're famous.
In my own mind, maybe. So. Danielle says, "We'll make the logo. Will be super cool."
Yeah, I got to tell you, Danielle. She graduated in May. She had a COVID graduation. Full-time graphic design, Cambridge College. It's a very respected course. 15 minutes after graduation, she got a job, which was a minimum wage job, which was like, that's cool. You got a job and it's in your field, and you got to start somewhere. I mean, I did the same thing when I was in my early 20s, working as a lab tech for 2 years. Made peanuts. Always said it was the best job I ever had. And she didn't like that, but I'm like, that's cool. And she got it. She understood it, that it was a stepping stone to something bigger. You always have to ask the question, what is the next best thing? Always ask that question. And then in August, the job opportunity came up with a huge pay raise. She applied for it and she got it end of August, and she's been working there ever since. That's my Danielle story.
Good for her. That's awesome. Hard work pays off.
And those daily beatings.
Yeah.
Daily beatings.
See, I grew up with 2 daughters, so people wonder why I'm bald. So
you had the
2 daughters.
You had to alternate the beatings, one day, one the next. And yeah, your hair's gone, so there's that.
And when it does grow, it's got the gray in there, that salt and pepper, and yeah.
Well, keep the look on. You got it going on. So, all right, guys. Thanks, John.
So Dwayne the Rock Johnson thing going here.
Yeah. You the man. So, shall we call it a wrap? Shall we call it a buzz?
I think it was a good first one. I think we had a lot of feedback from people on there. A lot of people came on and off. And this will be in the forum. As far as I know, this will be on the Facebook page as long as it will be. We'll download it and send it to Rob, and he can put it in the archives there on the .com page.
And we'll put it. I think we could put it in the Facebook. Can we put it in the Facebook under a topic, under its own thread?
Replays? I don't know. I know it automatically will save in the group, and then it's a matter of, I guess you can move it to a certain folder, probably.
Let's see if we can do that. And we'll figure it out. Thanks for everything you're doing, John. We will talk soon.
Definitely.
Everybody have a great day.
All right. See everybody later.